awesome keynote, and we got started with Kotlin basics. So let's talk about Pragmatic Kotlin. This is my experience. I've been using Kotlin even before Google introduced their official support. So far, I've developed like 5 to 6 apps which are already in production. So my experience with Kotlin, how what are the issues I faced while migrating? This is the common thing. Everybody is like wowed by the features what we see about Kotlin. But right now the scenario would be everybody will be like migrating to Kotlin with their existing Java project. So about me, like why am I like eligible to like give this talk? I've been an Android developer for last 7 years, and currently working for Fjord. And I'm also a proud Kannadiga, as in like as you say, as Gujarati, you guys can say proud Gujarati. I'm a proud Kannadiga from Karnataka, and I've been a speaker in DroidCon multiple times. I've conducted workshops and testing and RX Java, and I've also been a speaker in JSFU and TIConf. Like mostly my speaking agenda is about Android. I'm also creator of Android Starters, which is an utility for Android developers to explore various architecture. Like if somebody wants to explore various architectures, they can just visit Android Starters and you'll get bunch of options. You can select and you can create any app using selected list. And I'm also open source contributor. Like I work on tooling side of the Android development side. Like instead of working on Android projects, I create tools for developers. Not the tools which Android team develops. I'm creating tools in other way, like getting my web experience to Android. Since web has lots of tools, I'm getting few ideas from web development and putting into Android development. I'm also an author of upcoming Android testing guide book. I have a open source repository called Android Testing Guide, which is very popular. So like I've extended my repository to like I'm turning this into Android testing book. So here is my agenda. So I'll just go through what are the steps which like when somebody is having a Java project and what are the steps they should consider to convert a Kotlin project, and most common issues will we face while converting to like Kotlin Android, and also takeaways, and the last thing about like eliminating all the double banks. That will give you like a lot of headaches, double banks, once you use the converter. So to get started, this is not working. Okay. This to get started, like before you get started, like go to tools and convert your file to Kotlin. First thing you need to do is you need to configure Kotlin. That is the first step. Configure Kotlin, which comes under like tools menu in Android Studio. You just go there and configure Android Studio for all modules. Like it will give an option like whether like you should configure it for one single module or all module. You can configure it for all module if you have multiple modules in your Android app. So these are the steps which I followed like when I started converting my Java app to Kotlin. I just picked up some random file and I just converted. One thing which helped me like while converting to Kotlin is I had a test cases which helped me to validate. Whenever like I convert a class, I run all the tests so that like I want to make sure if something is broken. If like when something is broken, like your test will say like after your conversion is done, there is something wrong in your business logic. So Second step, like once, like just go with the converter, like they just go, like it generates a lot of ugly things as well, the inbuilt converter. I'll go through in detail what are the things which convert. And once you get hands-on and like feel of Kotlin syntax, you can explore more about idiomatic Kotlin and like how you can make code look concise. And that's it, like you just repeat the step and then ship it. And this is how this is the initial steps which like I started like, so what are the common converter issues when you use like Android Studio converter? What are the issues we face? See, these are the like main issues we face. Typecasting for the sake of interoperability. I'll go through each in detail with an example. So like from now on, like it will be most of the code snippets. Like I'll show the more code snippets, no theory. Okay, so this is first thing, like typecasting for the sake of interoperability. When you have a class, like when you have a class, you will do this a lot. Like when you are converting your existing project to Kotlin, just to make Java files happier, you need to make sure like you'll just typecast it as a non-nullable object. See, this is a Java class demo fragment. Like we have a class, and I also have a Kotlin class. Like I need to access this Kotlin class. If like this is nullable class, but my code accepts as a string, so I need to typecast it as a string. So this is something which you will do it everywhere, not just string. No, it's also as a for any kind of objects. So when converter always give you nullable objects, just to make sure like we'll save lot of null pointer exceptions. Okay, and in Kotlin there is no concept of static. There was no concept of static, and when the initial language features were designed, later on they added a concept called companion. Companion is a concept of static itself, but like when you use Kotlin companion objects with Kotlin with Java class, you will need to go through extra layer, which says let's say this is a Java class. Okay, like when you convert this, like you will have something like this. Since it was a static, like it will go inside a companion object. Just to make sure this object is not java.lang.object. This is an object keyword from Kotlin. So here, like if you want to access that particular Kotlin class again, like I have a main activity and I have a detail activity. When you come to main activity, which is in Java, you need to go through that detail activity .companion get start intent. So there is a new annotation which added, which says like JVM field, which will remove this companion thing. But this was one of the issues which I faced earlier, like earlier, like a lot. I need to add an extra layer companion for every Java class which I have. Even though your IDE will help you to add this companion keyword whenever there is a reference in Java classes, this will cause a lot of problems when you convert your static variables and objects. Okay, see, this is one thing like which I would like to tell everyone, like you need not like stress on migrating everything. Just if you go all in out, like you will definitely break a lot of things. A lot of people say like you just start with the test. Once you migrate test, you move to some utility classes. It's any way around. Like it's up to you guys. Like let's say like a lot of times, like how I got into conversion, whenever like I pushed a commit, I am waiting for my co-worker to review my code. In the meantime, like I was just trying to convert some of the utility class. I was just trying to write some more tests tests in Kotlin. That's how I got started with Kotlin. So overall, like Java and Kotlin is very, it is interoperable to some extent. There are some gotchas, like you need to do some extra work to make it interoperable, for similar to Companion, but that is not hard thing to do. You can just go, like start with one file, and you can definitely go get to 100%, maybe like in the after some time. Okay, like this is another problem which I faced. As Hardik explained, if we use a class, if we use Kotlin classes, there is no field. Concept of field, we call it as a properties. So when you create properties, like there will be default getters and setters which gets created automatically. So when you have this Java class, you give this to converter, like it goes like this. Like it is like this class, like it is interpreting this demo response as a getter for demo response variable. So this, when you convert this, like it goes like this. Like this is an invalid code. It's not a correct code. It was supposed to be a function. So when you convert it to Kotlin, like it was pretended as a variable, and like it has those getters and setter methods inside. So this is one common issue which I faced, which everybody will face, because we in any class we will have some method. Let's say a get category list, like I have an object get category list, get category list for with some filters and etc. All those methods you need to make sure like you remove, or like you rename it to something else before you run the converter. Okay, and in my experience, I haven't gone through the syntax of Kotlin. I started converting right away. Anyways, like our IDE will help us. Like whenever I wanted some for loop or anything, like IDE was always helpful. This was same in my previous experience as well. When I wanted to migrate from RxJava to RxJava2, I didn't want to go through the whole API documentation. Like IDE was always like intelligent to like help me like how to add new things and what are the changes which comes up. Okay, like if you guys have lot of like unit tests, you will definitely face a lot of issues with Kotlin, because one of the main issue would be by default all the classes in Kotlin is final. Until recently there was no way to mock final. Like if you are writing test, you will definitely mock certain behavior. There was no option to mock. It was difficult to mock earlier, and then Mockito added a setup how to configure mocking final classes. Once you mock the final classes, you can't use the Mockito right away. It is not. You need to make some more adjustments. As in, this one argument capture, like when you want to capture some object, like and verify the value which you have captured is correct. Since it has a nullable behavior and stuff, you will face this issue a lot. Like it will keep throwing this capture null exception. So to come up with to solve this, like there is a library Mockito Kotlin which is a wrapper around Java Mockito. What this does is like it has a wrapper, like it converts null into any object, so it will not crash. The test will run smoothly. Okay, this is one thing, and yeah, this is key takeaways. Like after converting the whole app, like from Java to Kotlin, these are the takeaways what I got. one thing is like annotation processor like must be replaced with KAPT. In wherever you have annotation processor in your build.gradle file, this must be replaced with KAPT, otherwise you will face a lot of errors. Whenever you are converting to Kotlin, if you see a lot of dagger related issues, just try replacing with KAPT. You will like that will solve a lot of issues. Okay, and I've already explained this, like converting mock final classes. So there is there was no way to configure mock final classes earlier. Now there is a way, like you need, but you need to use the latest version of Mockito. And under the test directory, you need to create mock maker. There is a file which you need to create. If you create that, you will be able to like mock the final class. There was also another plugin from Kotlin which says Kotlin open, like which if you apply that that class, like you can open all the classes for test. Even that is buggy. Like you go through this mock maker approach. That will be helpful. And like somebody asked about data binding question. Like data binding has had some issues with Kotlin. So if at all you want to use data binding, you must include this. Otherwise, like you will face a lot of issues. So this is an separate Kotlin fixes. Kotlin fixes as in like bindings, which has fixes for Kotlin related stuff. If you miss this, like you data binding will not work. Will not work for sure. There was one major problem which we faced initially was like the cyclic dependency from Kotlin standard library. All of that has been fixed in the data binding compiler for this annotation processor. You must use this. And the next thing would be like when you use Butterknife, you inject view and just give the ID and like everything, the code gets generated on the compile time, not the runtime, compile time. So at that particular point in time, the way Butterknife is written, the fields needs to be visible to the compiler. When you have the same code in Kotlin, like you need to have this JVM field as a annotation to make sure that field is visible for the annotation processor. This goes same with the Android test rules. We write a lot of test rules. Even with the test rules, you need to like prepend with at JVM field. If there is a problem, you need to like you'll face a problem like it is we cannot inject private field. This is an error which we usually face. To come out with that, you need to like prepend this annotation. Okay, like last part, like our last part is this. This is the most important part. Like we have already decided to move to Kotlin because there is a lot of buzz. So like once, even though like we convert a lot of things in Kotlin, we converted everything. We get a lot of null pointer exceptions. There is nothing like we don't get any null pointer exceptions. To avoid that, like we need to like eliminate this double bang from your code. Like from the converter, you will always get double bangs. That is the way converter is designed. Maybe like in upcoming versions they might improve it. So to improve this, like there are like 4 steps. Like there might be like these are 4 steps which I followed. There can be like more steps. Okay, so first thing is like use val instead of var. Like when it comes to Kotlin, like when all the buzz started about statically typed programming and immutability and stuff, you like when you start thinking in those lines, always like use val instead of var. Like var is something which is writable. So if you want to avoid null pointer exception, always like try to use val wherever it is possible. Okay, this is one thing, and use late in it. This is something which you will use a lot. This is some concept which I took some time to understand, like, because we didn't know like what is late init and stuff. As I said, like I didn't go through the basics. I just went through the converter and just learned Kotlin. So when you convert this, like you will definitely get this something like this null, and like you will get this double banks. You will see a lot of these things in your code. So if you're pretty sure about like about some variable you will initialize before you use it, just convert this to use late init. So just convert this to use late init, so you will not get null pointer exception. This will be the most common changes you will make once you convert each and every file, late init and converting var to vol. Okay, and this is also most common thing which already Hardik explained how things work in terms of blocks and functions in Kotlin. So we have this code almost everywhere in our Java classes. Something is null, do something. So just like replace this with this let function. So by default, like Kotlin will check if photo URL is null, then only execute entire thing in let block. Otherwise, like nothing of like upload photo will be executed. This is also one way of like checking like eliminating null. Like if you use this null, right, like you will see this double banks in the end. Like this compiler will force you to add double banks, because this compiler like senses this can be null. So the reason why you add double banks here, like I know it will not be null because I have already added a check, like, but even then, like I need to instruct the compiler, like I'll add I'm ready with this, I'm fine with this. Okay, use Elvis operator wherever is possible. Like again, this is the same null check which we go through. This is a common this is also common functions which we use everywhere. So this Elvis operator can be replaced by this, like compiler, like if you just add this operator, like it'll by default check for null, and if m username is null, it'll just return anonymous. Okay, that's all I have. See, I have something called I had something for Kotlin extensions. Once you are done with your with the conversion, once you go through the issues, once you configure everything, once you configure KPT, everything, next thing, like how you'll improve your code by using extensions. Like Hardik already gave very good introduction for extensions. I also have a big list of Kotlin extension which is listed in kotlinextensions.com. Like I have a list of most commonly used standard Kotlin extensions. Like you guys can visit kotlinextensions.com and you can pick any extensions you want and you can copy paste and you can just use it. Yeah, this Kotlin extensions, like yeah, this is one final tip which I want to give. Like almost everybody like is coming from a Java background or any background, like you can't learn the whole language at once. Don't aim for it. Like just keep on like picking up small things and converting small things, and like you should be able to do it. Like always, like try to do it like when in your free time. Not make sure like you will not break anything critical. Okay, questions? Yes.
What do you use for local storage?
I didn't understand.
What do you use for local storage?
Local storage. I personally use Realm, and I've been exploring Room. I started using Room couple of days back. Can somebody give mic to him? Mic?
Library available for converting Kotlin code back to Java.
Why do you want to do that?
Like, yeah, I know it's weird, but there's one library or like a Medium article about loading.
Yeah, like there is a way. It's easy way is to like just select your Kotlin code and just go to show bytecode, and there is a button which says like show the code, which will give you the Java code.
Yes, actually I did it, but it didn't go well, and there was a lot of buzzy code, and I couldn't understand.
Yeah, but converter is something which is not handwritten. Like you need to like understand that like it will never satisfy your requirement. Like it will satisfy compiler requirements. Okay, and one other thing which I forgot to mention, like when you're converting Java to Kotlin, git diff, when you do git diff, like you will face a lot of issues. For example, two people are working on same file. One guy converts the file to Kotlin, another guy did some addition to the same Java file. So like it will be totally rework. So what we follow, which has worked out really well, whenever after converting, we rename it back to Java. Even though the code is Kotlin, we rename it back to Java so that both the code is not lost. It comes in the git diff. Okay, any other questions?
If I am using a library, then what's the solution? If some library is not available in Kotlin, then?
No, it has nothing to do with like library is written in Kotlin or not. As I said, Kotlin is like right away interoperable with Java. You can just call those methods like in Kotlin. There is no restriction. There is no rule for that library to be written in Kotlin.
But there are some builders over there. If you.
Yeah, you can still use builders in Kotlin, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
If the library has a builder pattern, you can use that builder pattern here.
Okay.
Yes.
Actually, this is more of a reverse engineering question.
Yes.
If I reverse engineer the APK of a Kotlin file, what will I get? Because basically when we reverse engineer a Java file, we get a Java class file and we can decompile that thing. If we decompile a Kotlin file, what will we get?
I'm not sure. Like I'm not what I know is the process. Any Kotlin code which you convert, it eventually get converted to same Java class file.
Okay.
In the dex file, whatever which you get it in the APK file, it's the same class files. The same class file which you generate in Java, same class files it will be generated from Kotlin as well. Class files will be same.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, means while converting it also converts the POJO classes into the data classes directly?
It not necessarily. Maybe like we can just convert it and then you can do it as an improvement. Like if you convert into data classes, it will be a extra work initially. Maybe when you have an extra time, you can definitely convert into data class. But like the converter like will already give you Kotlin class that you can just get away with that. Data class has a lot of advantages, but if you want to do it, like you need to pass all the arguments through converter and constructor and stuff. If you create data classes, you need to create through constructor. If you change it to constructor, you need to change it everywhere else. I don't think like I never like converted to data classes right away. Maybe I did it like whenever I had some extra time.
Okay, and of course if we are using RX with Android,
yes.
So is there any extension for Kotlin or we can use directly RX Java?
As I said for his answer, like we have we don't need a separate library to use Rx Java in Kotlin. We can use you can use Rx Java itself, but there is Rx Kotlin which is very small library which has set of extension function which will make your code look concise. It will not give you any advantages, but it will make sure like your code look concise. Yes.
Thanks.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Yes.
Sir, how effective is Java to Kotlin converter? So means once we convert the code, do we have to do a lot of manual labor?
That's what like I went through, right? Like if you want to make sure you will not break anything, you need to do some modification. It is not like 100% foolproof converter. You will definitely have some issues.
Okay, but mostly there are less issues if we follow
Yes.
those patterns.
Make sure like one most important thing, like make sure you don't have any double banks. Try having double banks in the whole source code. Double bank is like you are pleading to like throw null pointer exception. If you add double bank, like you want to throw null pointer exception. Nobody wants to do that.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Should we use Kotlin for SDK development? Means we can approach the code like it is adaptive and everything for a client that are going to use that SDK.
Why not? Like why not? Like there is no issues. Like I've recently written an SDK. The way I approached, I've written the whole source code in SDK in Kotlin. I've written all the tests in Java. So if I've written all the tests in Java, I'm making sure that it is usable through Java code. That's it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
As you have tell here, annotation processor we are using KAPT.
Yes.
For that I got multiple solution. One was when using KAPT we have to write another line which is KAPT generated stub true. And
No, that-
another is apply plugin KAPT. So what is
Yeah,
the
this
difference?
was a configuration which was there in the previous version of Kotlin KAPT. Now we have a KAPT version 3. We don't need to do that. We don't need to specify that. Without specifying that configuration, it'll by default like it'll generate.
So we need to write apply plugin KAPT.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.